Nick Kirchner of Grafana. Thanks for joining me. It's great to have you today, Nick. What have you seen organizations in government run up against as they've been adopting and implementing DevSecOps environments? What challenges, what roadblocks have you seen, Nick? Welcome.
Yeah, appreciate the time today. No, we've definitely seen some programs run into challenges early on in their DevSecOps journey. It can be really easy to kind of underestimate the time and resources, personnel, and honestly, some of the regulatory challenges that need to be overcome just to get started. So one strategy, I guess, we've kind of come seen folks going with is really kind of leaning toward that platform as a service type model, where you've got a group whose mission is to provide a turnkey DevSecOps environment. With all that tooling that application teams really need to kind of get started quickly.
What's the advantage that people get from kind of having that infrastructure built? Does it allow them to actually skip a step, or does it allow them to just think differently about the steps that they are going to take?
Your question there kind of gets to sort of some of the pros and cons of going as it with a platform as a service. It's sort of a build versus buy decision that groups will make early on, and so it's okay, ownership of our own environment with all the flexibility associated, or more of an accelerated time to value with a platform as a service route. So certainly, we've seen a lot of folks go with the platform as a service. Yeah, but I think regardless, it's important for organizations doing DevSecOps to think about how they can augment their own capabilities by partnering with other organizations or industry partners who have a lot of experiences in this space, and can really help achieve positive mission outcomes.
What are the drivers for a government organization in thinking through that build versus buy decision that you talked about a moment ago, Nick?
Yeah, kind of like I mentioned, it's just time to value. It can take years to get started along your DevSecOps journey, go through DoD's, acquisition hurdles, set up your own environments, get all the personnel lined up, and platform as a service route does provide the ability to get started quicker and start achieving some wins and some mission outcomes that you're looking to achieve.
When somebody wants to make that move and do the buy versus build, I guess we'll turn that on its ear for the purposes of this conversation. When someone wants
Sure.
to go that direction, what do you advise them to do to make sure they have the flexibility and adaptability that they need to be able to be nimble, which is kind of the point of the whole DevSecOps experience?
Yeah, what we see a lot in our space, specific just around observability, is teams are finding that it should really be an essential part of that DevSecOps journey, right? So not just an afterthought that's kind of tackled, a couple years down the road. And you're really talking about things there just around having complete access to the crucial telemetry data from teams' infrastructure and applications, as well as being able to kind of gather the insights needed to take action based on what that data is telling you. So it's really kind of a critical ingredient in that DevSecOps journey. A well thought out approach to observability can ultimately mean that your developers are able to identify bugs prior to production. You can reduce the your mean time to repair when incidents do happen. You can really take a holistic approach to tracking things like service level objectives and KPIs. And all of that is ultimately just helping that DevSecOps community to deliver more successful mission outcomes.
Is there a security consideration or a security advantage in deciding to buy versus build, Nick?
There certainly can be. A lot of that's going to be around just some of the regulatory hurdles that you have to go through. I mean, there's the tooling and the process and the personnel side as well that can take time, but certainly, getting ATO'd in production can be cumbersome.
Is the collaboration experience similar, different in an environment that somebody buys as a service as opposed to something that folks use to build that as opposed to folks that build their own?
There can be, and that actually kind of gets back into sort of that observability kind of focus there, is just being able to have the ability to collaborate and, being able to make sure that the right data is in the right person's hands. At Grafana, we talk a lot about the democratization of data. What that basically means is, again, making sure that the right people have access to the right data in real time so that they're making the most informed decisions that they can about the state of their applications and infrastructure, the state of their security posture, and just really their overall business health. We do that at Grafana by working with teams to break down information silos, unifying an organization's data into kind of a single pane of glass view, and creating role and persona based dashboards, alerts, service level objectives to kind of help promote that collaborative observability focused culture that can turn data into actionable insights.
We talked about kind of laying the groundwork for moving into this type of environment. Nick, how do I know at some future point that I'm on the right track, even if I'm not at a mature point in the journey to a DevSecOps environment? How do I know that I'm on the right track, that I'm headed in the right direction?
Yeah, so looking at things like just adoption, user metrics. There's real user monitoring components to that. Just getting a sense of how people are, kind of leveraging your software on a day-to-day basis. But then there's also some of the things just around your success as an application team in terms of kind of how you're operating your CI/CD pipeline. So how long it takes changes to make it to production, how do you deal with outages? How often do you introduce changes that cause failures? So, just tracking things like Dora metrics, for deployment frequency, change lead time, change failure rate, mean time to recovery, that kind of thing. Those are some key KPIs to kind of track the overall health and success of your development teams.
Nick, it's great to have a chance to talk to you. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.